Hello, Oilers fans. Austin here with today's day after discussion of the Oilers' comeback win in Game 4 to tie the series in overtime, and I'm exhausted. You might not be able to tell through the video that you're watching, but my head has just been pounding since last night. My ears have been ringing. It was one of the most incredible experiences I've ever had at Rogers Place. I'm incredibly lucky that I got to go, so I just need to give a huge shout out to everyone that allowed that to be possible, everyone that ever tunes into this channel. Even if you don't do anything, you just click on the video just to see what I have to say. That helps out, and that allowed me to live my dream last night, so thank you. Now, in today's Day After Discussion episode, just because I don't quite have the voice and I don't have as much energy as usual, I'm not going to break down specific topics and do like a 40-minute long video. What I'm going to do is kind of acknowledge some of the things that I didn't talk about last night in the fan reaction. And then there's a few questions that fans did submit after the game last night that I was not able to get to just based on my setup in my hotel room. Now that I'm home, I have my second monitor. I have my OBS set up the way I need it to. So I will address some of that from the fans. I will answer a couple of your questions. And then we're just going to get ready for Game 5, which is tomorrow. Quick turnaround, no rest when it comes to NHL playoff hockey, no rest when it comes to the Edmonton Oilers. I really wish they could just win a game in a normal fashion. Not complaining about the win, of course, but it would be nice to win a game in regulation fairly comfortably just once. Not gonna, that might be too much to ask, but, we'll just leave it at that. If you end up enjoying this video, just hit that like button. And if you really like it and you're not yet subscribed to the channel, make sure to subscribe. Daily Oilers content throughout the entire playoffs. And even if the Oilers, knocking on wood here that they don't get eliminated, I will continue to do playoff content all spring and summer long. It's a long road to the championship final, and hopefully the Oilers continue to stay alive here, stay in the hunt. They have a lot of work cut out for them in Game 5. The Kings are going to be pissed. I imagine Jim Hiller is going to make some adjustments for the LA Kings, but there is, a few things to talk about here. So first things first, one of the things I wanted to address with regards to the Kings and how Jim Hiller is coaching right now, and I talked about this in the pregame report yesterday, the keys to the game: don't play passive. This is what I had for my pregame report. Don't play passive. That was the number one key to the game for the LA Kings. If they get a lead, don't sit back. Every game in this series that they've had a lead, save for Game 2, they have sat back. They've been very passive. They haven't pushed the issue, which is very strange because the LA Kings were dominating after 2 periods. The Oilers were down 3-1. They only had, I think, 14 or 15 shots on goal. It looked terrible for Edmonton. I did not have a lot of confidence that they could come back in that third period with the way LA was shutting things down. However, at the start of the third period, it was very obvious that they were going to do the game plan that they did in Game 3, which also didn't work out for them, and that was to just sit back. The Kings teams of the past, they ran that 1-3-1. Todd McClellan Kings, they ran the 1-3-1. Didn't matter if they had a lead or they were losing. They never strayed from it. The LA Kings right now, when the game is tied or they're behind, they are really aggressive on the forecheck. They utilize their speed well. They utilize their size. They get in on the forecheck. They force defenders to make mistakes, and they create good chances. They create chances off the rush. They create chances off the cycle. I have no idea why Jim Hiller, when they have the lead, at least in this series, they sit back in the third period. I don't understand what this is. Kings fans, you're going to have to let me know what you think. But watching the game last night live, the LA Kings, I'm not kidding. They were legitimately, as soon as they lose possession in the Oilers zone, all 5 guys are just coming back to the neutral zone, and they were playing kind of like a 2-3 in the neutral zone. So they had 2 of their players, 2 of their forwards at the red line, and then 3 players behind them at their own blue line. So they were essentially playing no forecheck. An 0-2-3 is what I would consider that defensive structure in the neutral zone. Never seen anything like it. And the people that were beside me at the game, the one guy especially, he recognized that too. He's like, the Kings, why are they sitting back? And I was like, I don't know. I can't answer that question. And it's not just the fact that the Kings were sitting on the lead. It's how they're playing their players, their time on ice utilization. With the lead, they are only utilizing 4 of their defensemen. So, of course, the Oilers, as they continue to push the attack, push the pace, whether they're dumping and chasing or carrying the puck into the zone and trying to work the cycle, What is happening here is the Kings' 4 defensemen that they are utilizing right now, they are getting gassed. And as third periods wear on and wear on, the LA Kings look tired. The Kings in that third period, and especially the overtime. Oh my goodness, the Kings looked exhausted in overtime because Jim Hiller isn't playing anybody other than 9 forwards. Essentially, he's really only playing about 8 of his forwards consistently, and he's only playing 4 of his defensemen. Let's take a look at that time on ice utilization for his forward group last night. So Byfield, 28 minutes, Danault, 27, Fiala, 27. This isn't like horrible, right? Lafreniere, I almost called him Lafreniere. And then you have Kopitar, Moore, Fogle, Kempe, and then it really drops down. Kuzmenko only played 19:38. Very interesting. Kuzmenko's been one of the most effective forwards on this team for the Kings. I didn't notice if anything happened to him last night. I don't think he's injured, but they did really start to limit his ice time in that third period. And then you have the fourth line. Look at Helenius. He only played 1:44 the whole game. 3 shifts the entire game. Malott, 5 shifts the whole game. Trevor Lewis, 9 shifts the entire game. That is completely unsustainable if you are this hockey club right now, especially against the Oilers when they're feeling it. They have their speed. I don't know why they are running. Why are they doing this top-heavy ice time utilization? And then the defensive situation. Look at this. So Edmondson and Anderson, Doughty, Gavrikov, all over 30 minutes. Then it drops to 11:58 for Brandt Clark, who I think is a really good, solid player. I don't know why they're not playing him more. And then Movahari, apologies if I can't pronounce that name correctly. Kings fans, you will let me know how to pronounce that person's name. Movahari. Anyways, 2:26. This guy played 3 shifts the entire game. What are we doing? You are late in overtime, and you are still not playing 2 of your 6 defensemen. So, of course, by the end of the game, of course, these guys are gassed. They're being utilized on the penalty kill and all of these different situations, trying to defend the lead, trying to defend the tie game in overtime. When defensemen get gassed, they aren't able to break the puck up the ice effectively. They're not sharp when it comes to making those decisions because the more fatigued you are, the more you're focusing on just keeping your legs and your lungs from just completely exploding out of you. And for the Oilers, they are taking advantage of this. Chris Knobloch, he's taking advantage of this. If we look at the Oilers' ice time utilization, yes, their forward group is top heavy, but when you get down to their fourth line players, Podkolzin still played 9:34, Janmark played 11:19, Arvidsson played 12:07, Frederick 12:52. Of course, in the third period, they loaded Draisaitl McDavid. You're down by 2. You're doing what you can to get back in the game. You're doing what you can to push the pace and get yourself back in this thing. That makes sense. Evander Kane played 23 minutes last night, but these forwards, they are fresh enough. And there was a few shifts in overtime actually, where Frederick, he got a shift in overtime. Arvidsson got a shift. Podkolzin, he's keeping his guys fresh enough so that he's not overrunning the top players, so that when they do go out, McDavid draws the penalty late in overtime because he can move quicker than the LA Kings defenders, who are forced to commit an infraction just to prevent scoring chances. And it eventually led to the game winner for Edmonton. And when we look at their defensive situation, now, the Kings, they're playing 4 out of their 6. The Oilers, they are playing 5 out of their 6 D-men. I imagine Ty Emberson will likely come out of the lineup. They were utilizing him until the third period. There's a clear shift under Chris Knobloch. He will shorten the bench in the third period, but look at the ice time for the 5 D-men. These D-men are constantly fresh. Wallman, he was the second lowest time on ice for D-men for Edmonton, and it was 25:47. The second lowest time on ice for the Kings for defensemen was 11:58. That is a massive, massive difference in a team's ability to defend and stay fresh either on the bench or when they're on the ice. Jim Hiller is absolutely running his team into the ground, just trying to defend a lead. Whatever the situation is, and Kings fans, I actually do need to hear from you. Is this something that he did all season long? Is this something that the Kings normally do when they have a lead? Because this isn't something that I have seen personally from this Kings team, and at least in the regular season games that the Oilers played against them. And then there were other Kings games that I probably tuned into about 10 Kings games total all season. So my sample size with the eye test is a lot smaller than everyone that watches these this team consistently. I need to know, is this something new that Jim Hiller is doing because he's just trying to protect a lead, or has he been doing this all season long and right now it's just not working out for him? I need to know. I am incredibly curious what this is, and I needed to talk about that because as an Oilers fan, it's confusing to me. And this is something that we actually saw Dave Tippett do with the Oilers a few years ago, that series against Winnipeg. He really shortened his bench in that series. The Oilers got swept. 3 of those games went to overtime, but there were times where he was only playing 4 D-men the whole game. He's only playing 8 forwards the whole game. So I have seen this before from a coach of my own team that did not result in positive results. So for the Kings, for Jim Hiller, I don't know if he's overthinking things. Has this been the plan all season and he's sticking with it? Either way, I do think the Kings have to make an adjustment. And for the Oilers, yes, they have come back in 2 games in a row. This is not a sustainable way to play in the postseason. This team, the Edmonton Oilers, cannot play the way they did in the first 40 minutes last night. They have to come out, find a way to get that first goal, and find a way to push the issue and hold on to the lead. They had a 2-goal lead against LA in Game 3, but again, credit to the Kings. When they're playing from behind, they are rolling their lines, they're rolling the defense pairs, and they are aggressive. No idea why the Kings have strayed away from that. As an Oilers fan, obviously I'm not complaining, but to do my due diligence as a hockey fan and kind of analyzing how both teams are playing right now, the LA Kings, if this series continues to be a grind, if this goes 7, which I think it likely will go 7 games, the Kings are good on home ice. They could win Game 5. You could say Edmonton wins Game 6, and then we have a Game 7 back in LA. The Oilers have to find a way to steal one, whether it's Game 5 or 7, if they're able to even get that far. It's going to be difficult. It's going to be very, very difficult. The Oilers, they have shown that they can turn it up. The Oilers last night, between the third period and overtime, had 33 shots on goal. The LA Kings had 13 shots. The Oilers outshot the Kings by 20 shots on goal, and that doesn't even include what the shot attempts were. The Oilers were just flying all over the Kings. That overtime could have ended about 4 or 5 times before it finally did, before Draisaitl got that game winner. I don't know, man. It's an interesting situation. Not sure how we're feeling, Kings fans. Obviously, we're not feeling great, but yeah. Before we kind of wrap things up, I do want to go over 2 of the Edge Visualizer goals, and then I'll answer a couple of the fan questions, and then we're just going to leave it at that. These were like the main things that I wanted to discuss. Number 1, Edge Visualizer, the Evan Bouchard game-tying goal. Now, they did not show it on the visualizer, and of course, I cannot show, even if it's a gameplay replay, I just can't risk the copyright infringement on the channel. I mean, I could show the replay maybe, but Evan Bouchard, the play that he made to keep this puck alive along the half wall, if the LA King player had been able to get by him, it's game over. He would have had a clear lane to the net. Nobody else was back, but Evan Bouchard, he made that risky play to jump up. He came up to the half wall and he swiped his stick, kept the play alive. A puck went towards the Kings net and it missed. It goes into the corner. Jake Wallman, a great read. He's the other defender for the Oilers. Great read. He skates his butt all the way into that corner, and the Kings are tired. Like, they're 5 players on the ice. They are exhausted. They've been defending for a while. McDavid cuts in front of the net, and then he plays it back to Bouch. The crowd's going nuts, telling him to shoot, and then Draisaitl. Look how passive the Kings got here. This is the pass before Bouchard one-timed it. Not sure why it's showing Emerson on the ice here. Clearly, that did not actually happen. But look at how passive the Kings are. Yes, there's a few players kind of in that shooting lane, but the LA Kings have to get up. You need Kopitar near McDavid. You need number 9 pushing Evan Bouchard. That's Kempe. And you need 44 going after Draisaitl. That's Mikey Anderson. They need to find a way to box Edmonton out more when it comes to them having the net empty. The Oilers have scored, 3 goals now with their goalie pulled? That's a lot of goals scored in one series with the goalie pulled, because the LA Kings, they're just... it's that passive, just kind of sitting back and hoping that the puck doesn't hit their goalie or go into the net behind them, hoping that their body does block the shot. But Bouchard, he one-times it straight through Kemper, ties the game up. You love to see that, and the crowd was just going absolutely insane. That was one of those instances where the crowd pop, it actually popped my ears. It was so loud. Nobody was sitting either during that empty net, at least in the section 209 that I was in the upper deck of Rogers Place. And then the overtime winner. Now, this isn't I'm not showing the Draisaitl goal. I'm going to talk about another player after the puck goes in the net. So we'll watch McDavid cycle, download a Draisaitl. Nice hard pass across to Nugent Hopkins, and nice play. Now, Nuge, he could have threw this towards the net, but Kopitar, he's in the lane, so if that would have went off Kopitar, maybe he off of his shin, maybe he gets a bit of a break here. Nice read by Nugent Hopkins. He sees McDavid kind of coming back to this circle, and he hits McDavid, who just kind of one-touches it. Corey Perry can't get the rebound. No worries, Draisaitl. He just slams that thing in there, and of course, the team on the ice to celebrate. Well, watch McDavid. Look at McDavid here. He doesn't go into the celebration corner with Draisaitl. His reaction is to skate down towards Calvin Pickard, and they showed it on Sportsnet. McDavid, his whole reaction and his first reaction was, hey, I'm happy that we won. We have to acknowledge the goaltender that allowed us to win this hockey game. Calvin Pickard, I know the advanced stats say he still had a negative goal save above expected. This was a game where I don't agree with that. Those first two periods, some of the chances the Kings had, the saves that Pickard had to make. He made a couple cross-ice saves, his lateral movement. He had to get pads on pucks. He was coming out. He was challenging shooters. I don't entirely blame him for any of the goals that went by him other than that first one through his 5-hole. But you know what? He was being shelled for 2 straight periods. Eventually, just with the volume of shots, that's going to happen. But Calvin Pickard, he did everything he's supposed to do as a goaltender. He saved the pucks that he's not really supposed to save, and he saved the pucks that he is supposed to save. He ended up finishing the night with a .927 save percentage. All we ask for in oil country is usually a 900. 905 is usually guaranteed win, and anything above 910 it's gravy. 927 last night. He was instrumental in the Oilers being able to come back in this one. It was a phenomenal effort by Calvin Pickard. I could not be happier. It was a fantastic game, a fantastic experience at Rogers Place. And I had to acknowledge Evan Bouchard's play to keep the puck alive before the tying goal. And I had to acknowledge Connor McDavid acknowledging his goalie and skating right to Calvin Pickard after the OT winner. That is a captain. That is a leader who understands how important Calvin Pickard is to this team right now, who understands the goaltending situation in Edmonton after the first 2 games was not looking good. And we can look at Pickard's save percentage in Game 3. I'm really happy that they didn't panic and go back to Stu. There was some talk that they might go back to Stu, and that would have been a complete mistake. That would have been an absolute disaster decision. This is now Calvin Pickard's crease. No matter what happens, if they lose Game 5, they have to still run with him. Stuart Skinner lost the crease. Calvin Pickard instills confidence in his team. And most importantly, Calvin Pickard, in the 2 games that he's played, has not given up a single goal in the third period or now overtime as well. He's played 2 third periods and 1 period of overtime, no goals against. So for the Oilers, start defending better in the first 40 minutes, get yourself a lead, play comfortable, play, loose in the sense that, you were relying on instinct more than reactions on the ice. And for the Kings, their big play now is to, they have to make some adjustments. Jim Hiller behind the bench for LA. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. He has to start making adjustments, and he has to start doing them like right now. Otherwise, the Oilers, it looks like Knobloch has kind of found a way to get a lot out of his players. Apparently last night after the first period, there was a players only meeting, but it didn't include Draisaitl or McDavid or Matthias Janmark for some reason. Not sure why Janmark wasn't involved. Not sure what the heck happened. Probably a lot of yelling and screaming and anger going on from the coaching staff. So we'll have to see how this all plays out. It is a long series. This is a grind. I'm enjoying the win from last night. I'm having a great day today so far, but tomorrow it's back to business. Pre-game report will be up first thing in the morning for everyone. And then, of course, during the evening, I will be doing a live stream commentary. Since I'm back home now, I will do a live stream commentary for Game 5. Hopefully the Oilers can pull out a massive victory. Just find a way to steal one from the Kings in Los Angeles. They're the best home team in the NHL. And then, of course, once Game 6 rolls around, we'll see what happens. Maybe this series goes 7. This is a terrific series of hockey. And again, last night's game was a once-in-a-lifetime thing for me. I don't know if my heart can handle going to playoff games live. For season ticket holders, I don't know how you do it. I would probably pass out and just be just unalive on the spot if I had to do that every second day during the playoffs and even the regular season. So it was a treat. It was my pleasure going to the game last night. And before we wrap things up, a couple questions from the fans that I will make sure that I addressed. The first one was from Kaylee. Austin, I know I missed the fan reaction question period. It's okay. I didn't actually do one. If you're taking one for the post game, which would be this one, can we take a moment to appreciate Corey Perry? Absolutely, Corey Perry. The ageless wonder, the worm. He scored a beautiful power play goal last night. It was likely a high stick. Not sure why the LA Kings didn't challenge that one, because in the building it looked like a high stick. And me and the guy that was beside me, we were both like, I think that's a high stick. They might challenge this. And for some reason, the Kings didn't. Maybe Jim Hiller has cold feet now because his challenge the other night for goalie interference went against him. And the Kings obviously had, you don't want the Oilers to come back and tie it, at least at that moment. That made it a 2-1 game at the time. If the Oilers had gotten a power play, they could have tied it up 2-2. So that was an interesting situation. Kings fans, I want to know what you thought. Every angle that they showed for the replay, I think the crowd in the building had kind of an idea too. There was definitely like not a nervous hush, but you could hear the chattering all around like, ooh, it's close. Was there a definitive angle, though? I'm not sure. But Corey Perry has been unbelievable. He is getting that first unit power play time in front of the net. He's taking it over for Hyman. He is getting opportunities when the net is pulled to be that net front presence, and he is effective when he's on the ice. There's a reason why he gets those shifts with McDavid and Draisaitl late in games. They trust him, and he is, he has been unbelievable. It's just been an incredible season for Corey Perry, something that I did not expect. I didn't think he'd have this impact, but we absolutely love Corey Perry. We love the worm here in oil country. And then the next question from Fleecy. I know it's probably too late to ask, but what was your favorite goal? Now, my favorite goal from last night, it wasn't the overtime winner. It was the game-tying goal because of Bouchard's play to keep the puck alive. And then, of course, the impact of tying the game with just 30 seconds left, the crowd reaction, everyone around me. It was unbelievable. Something that I can't even properly describe, but that was the one. That was my absolute favorite goal. That might be my favorite goal that I've seen live ever in person at any game I've been to. Just an incredible experience. So thank you for those of you who did submit the questions. There was a couple more from Twitter, but I will make sure I do a proper question period for the post-game fan reaction after the Kings game tomorrow. So keep an eye out for the day after. No, not the day after. Oh my God. See, my brain is mush. Keep an eye out for the pregame report tomorrow. And then, of course, live stream tomorrow night. And then post-game fan reaction after the game. I love all of you. Tell someone that you love them. And as always, fight like a kid. Fight like Ben. Let's go, Oilers. Let's try and steal one in LA tomorrow night in Game 5. Let's go.